So this is Louis, otherwise known as Five Take Man, otherwise known as Flemwad. Now that I've just eaten, I was like, hey, I should go get some lunch and then record something. And it's always a mistake. But that's just the way she goes. However, I am here to do a commentary. A very phlegmy one. I can already feel the need to clear my throat. God damn it. Anyways, normally I'm covering some serious political matters, but here today we are going to talk about a very serious matter. And that is the fact that there has been a racial hate crime in Buffalo. God damn it! And I am not going to take it. I can only begin to tell you how upset I am at what has happened. Because some poor, innocent man in Buffalo, deep in Buffalo, in a part of Buffalo, likely, where there isn't a white person for 10 miles. In Buffalo, a poor, innocent young man has had his BMW vandalized with KKK messages, vote for Trump messages, swastika, apparently homophobic material. Why that's on there, I'm not exactly sure. But the fact is that somebody from my neck of the woods, some white man, drove 30 minutes, found his BMW, and said, you know what? I can't stand niggers in my part of town. I understand that I live 30 minutes away and this man is in the middle of the ghetto, but I just have this pathological hatred, and I'm going to get out my sugar. I'm going to get out my multiple colors of spray paint. I'm going to get out my tire iron. I'm going to just go to work on this boy's vehicle in the middle of the ghetto, sometime near the night, 10 miles from anyone who's of similar shade than me. But no, I'm sorry. This is serious. And if you're listening to me right now, I know that I normally cover politics, but this just transcends politics. This is something that everyone needs to hear and understand. I'm going to show you some news footage, but here's the issue. I had some problems finding it. I looked around, I'm like, hey, where are the original segments that I saw on this in October? Because I remember seeing this on TV. Where are the original segments? I looked around. I couldn't find them. It's just from October of last year. Where are they? I was only able to find one. Every channel in the area covered this, but I couldn't find anything. I only was able to find one segment. Just goes to show you the local news media not taking racism seriously. Not like this channel, okay? I take this fucking seriously. And so should every person listening to this. Can you hear me right now? Okay? This is a serious fucking matter. I'm just so angry. But thankfully, WKBW was stupid enough to leave this fucking segment up. The only channel in my area that actually forgot to take it down. So we're going to have a listen to this.
Good evening. Graphic images show what is now being called a hate crime. And now police and prosecutors are on the hunt for who is responsible. Someone spray painted racist and homophobic messages on someone's car in North Buffalo. Tonight, Galat Malamed takes a closer look at the case and how others like this are handled by law enforcement.
We've never had that sort of hatred is what it is.
Neighbors on Saranac Avenue say this case of vehicle vandalism came as a shock. Racist and homophobic graffiti covered the SUV. Windows were smashed. Sugar was poured in the gas tank. Nothing was stolen.
All I know is that when I drive 30 minutes to the black part of town with my bag of sugar, tire iron, multiple colors, I have red, white, and blue spray paint just in my pickup all the time. And I saw this BMW and I was like, you know what? God damn it, you're ruining my fucking joke here. Shut the fuck up, autoplay. Anyways, I'm sorry. Autoplay interrupted my bit. The point is that when I drive 30 minutes to the black side of town with multiple colors of spray paint, sugar, a tire iron, I just happen to know which vehicle is owned by a nigger. It could be anybody driving this BMW, but I know it's a nigger. So I get out and I start drawing my swastikas. I start drawing vote for Trump. That's how I get black people to vote for Trump. You know, you ever heard of Blexit? Well, this is my version of Blexit. This is where I draw fuck you nigger or whatever else on this vehicle. I vote for Trump. Not F-O-R, for Trump. And I draw all kinds of shit on this vehicle. I specifically make sure that when I'm in a particular district that is noticeably statistically homophobic, that I make sure to write some anti-gay shit on the vehicle. Just for my own kicks. Just for my own sake. I'm driving this part of town and I'm just like, you know what? It ain't good enough to say nigger and swastika and KKK and vote for Trump multiple times. I'm thinking to myself, you know what will really get this man's goat is if I draw some fucking, I don't know, some anti-gay shit. They don't even show what it is. I wish I knew. I wish I recall what it was actually said. But they blur out all the bad shit. They'll show you vote for Trump and some KKK, and one of the new segments forgot to blur the swastika. But homophobic shit, no, they blurred all that shit. What was said, what's the hatred, you know, we don't know. It's just, I'm a boomer, and I'm just like, oh, nod my head. Oh, racism is wrong. Oh, this is so...
Buffalo police are investigating it as a potential hate crime.
You know, that falls into motive, reason why somebody committed the crime, was it racially motivated, those types of things. 5
local police departments, the Erie County Sheriff and UB and Buff State Police, self-reported 75 hate crimes to New York State between 2014 and 2018.
I've only had 2 hate crimes in 4 years, all right? Now, granted, you know, they've occurred within the past year.
Jeffrey Calhoun was acquitted of hate crime charges in March after police said a minor car crash led to a violent confrontation. A Franklinville man is also charged with a hate crime. Michael Kremen is accused of showing a knife and yelling racial slurs at protesters during a Black Lives Matter march on Hurdle Avenue in August.
You know, that's a serious crime right there when the cop is literally sitting in the vehicle and not getting out. That's how you know that's a serious damn hate crime. You know that's a serious fucking hate crime when the cop is literally sitting there as the man is standing there. When the cop is not getting out of his vehicle, not intervening, you know that's a serious fucking offense right there.
So we've had potentially 2 within the past couple weeks, so obviously that's an increase. Now, from a analytical, statistical point of view, is 2 enough to, you know, to say I've got a problem? Probably not.
District Attorney John Flynn believes COVID fatigue and the upcoming election are making people more tense.
You have those 2 things that are going on right now, and it's adding fuel to the fire.
Governor Cuomo created a hate crimes task force in 2018. The task force investigated anti-Semitic and racial slurs on UB's campus last November.
Epstein did kill himself. Oh shit, I didn't even catch that the first time. Let me look at that letter. Oh man, I love that shit. I love that shit. I just love it. It is so funny. I'm going to replay this segment. I'm sorry.
Governor Cuomo created a hate crimes task force in 2018. The task force investigated anti-Semitic and racial slurs on UB's campus last November. Buffalo's FBI field office says it has not seen an uptick in hate crime complaints. Police are asking anyone with information on the SUV to contact the confidential tip line.
What is that particular demographic that has a disproportionate amount of anti-Semitic belief, but also a disproportionate amount of anti-gay belief? Which demographic could that be committing the hate crimes of writing on desks or on whatever that Epstein didn't kill himself and they drew a swastika? I wonder which demographic disproportionately is likely responsible for that. I wonder. Just based on beliefs, reported beliefs, demonstrable beliefs, beliefs that we can track. Oh, man, I don't know. Unfortunately, guys, it's just going to remain a fucking mystery. I just don't know. As it turns out, though, Clifton Utsi here was actually the guy that was responsible for the hate speech on his vehicle and smashing his windshield and putting sugar in his own gas tank. Now, I gotta say, props to the Buffalo PD for cracking this fucking case, for cracking the code. You know, this to me is reminiscent of the FBI managing to catch, La Cosa Nostra, the mafia. It's this kind of complexity where the Italians basically refer to their own crimes on tape because Clifton Uzzi also did that. In one of these segments that they took down, Clifton just admits his crime on tape, and it went on the news with no one thought about it for more than a minute. The guy says, it'd be crazy for someone to do this themselves, for them to do this to their own vehicle.
Who does that to their own vehicle? Who does that? Nobody does that to their car. How you gonna get around now if you mess up your car? How you gonna get around?
The guy himself admits on camera, it'd be crazy for me to do this. And it's like no one thought about this. The reflexive reaction is, this is a hate crime, this is evil, blah, 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 blah. We got to get in the district attorney's case. What is he doing? What is he doing, bro? You got to get out there. You got to get out in the streets and apologize to a black man. You got to get on your knees like the Buffalo PD did and Niagara Falls PD did. Got to get on your knees and kiss the feet of some black man because another black man damaged his own vehicle to get the insurance money. And in the process, got arrested and is now facing a fucking laundry list of charges. I will get to that laundry list of charges because over the several news segments following up on this original story, this guy is facing 15 years in prison now. By my metric, this would be the guy that's, headed towards Liberia, okay? From my perspective, based on this. It's welcome to sentencing court. Which one do you want? 15 fucking years for the laundry list of charges that you're now facing? Or a one-way flight to Liberia? Or a one-way boat ride? Depends how much we want to skimp on this. But let's listen to one of these news segments as a follow-up.
A teenager had claimed last month his car had been vandalized with racially charged graffiti. But now, as 7 Eyewitness News reporter Hannah Bueller shows us tonight, this once alleged victim has now turned into the prime suspect in the case.
It was a shocking display of racism in North Buffalo, a vehicle covered in racist and homophobic slurs.
I just love how they have to keep referring to it as this is such shocking racism. Dude, are you fucking kidding me? The guy has been arrested by this point. The guy has been arrested. And you're still giving this fucking clout as though it was a racial hate crime. This is the way it goes with the news media. I mean, it is so ridiculous that they're still slanting the story as though this was a hate crime, but the owner has now been arrested. When it's dude, not only has this guy been arrested, but he's now facing 15 years in prison for all the charges based on this case.
The front of the car reading, "Vote for Trump."
I mean, I never thought that happens. I thought that was stuff that happened in movies.
That is the owner of the vehicle, 18-year-old Clifton Uzzi, speaking with 7 Eyewitness News last month. He told us he couldn't imagine why anyone would do this.
Who does that to their own vehicle? Who does that? Nobody does that to their car. How you gonna get around now if you mess up your car? How you gonna get around?
Sugar was poured inside the car's gas tank. North Buffalo neighbors like Casey's Blackrock offering Uzzi a free meal. Collision Masters owner and Erie County legislator Frank Todaro offering to remove the graffiti and fix the car for free.
For us, it's what we do every day. So we can get the vehicle in and out and get them back on the road and feel better about themselves,
Thank God for the white savior.
But police say they had their eye on Uzzi as the prime suspect. And Tuesday, he was charged with felony insurance fraud and 3 other misdemeanors.
It turns out that Mr. Uzzi, the owner of the car, did it himself. He allegedly called the insurance company up to try to get a claim for the damage to his car.
And then DA John Flynn says a week later, Buffalo police officers saw Uzzi leave a vehicle unattended with the engine running on Erskine Avenue. When they caught up with him, officers say they found he was driving without a license and had 2 loaded illegal firearms on him. In that case, he was released on bail and he's been released on the insurance fraud charges. He's due back in court in January.
We catch this guy driving illegally with multiple weapons, both of which are illegal. It's just amazing. It's really amazing. The state of the state, so to say, that this is the guy you catch, and it's just like, nah, man. I mean, sure, he's facing like 15 years in fucking prison in total for all this shit. Maybe even more. I don't even know. It depends on what he actually gets in the end. Because up to 7 years for just the insurance shit. Meanwhile, he's getting caught with multiple fucking firearms and he's driving illegally. Oh, man. It's just like, nah, let him go. Let this guy go. Let this didn't do go, man. What did he do? What did he do? Come on. What did I do, officer? Jesus Christ. It didn't even bother to, like, look into the weapons charges. They didn't even bother looking into it. I'm going to see if I can find an article on it. I mean, they covered it in the news segment. They mentioned it, but they're not even saying, like, how much, how many years he's facing for those charges. They just mentioned that that's why he was arrested. Again, apparently. Again, in a matter of hours, apparently. He's, like, going in for this felony, those misdemeanors. He's getting out. He's already committing more crimes. More serious crimes, this time with weapon charges. He's getting arrested and released again. Facing 15 years in prison. Nah, let him go. Come on. Just come back here in January, you crazy kid. Oh, man, New York. New York. Just gotta love it. New York! Gotta love it.
Meantime, Erie County DA Flynn also says the North Buffalo man who claimed his car was vandalized with racist graffiti last month did it himself. Flynn says 18-year-old Clifton Utsi spray-painted the hate speech on his own car and poured sugar in the gas tank, and a neighbor reported it to police. Utsi is charged with insurance fraud and filing a false report. We spoke with him last month, but did not air the interview while working to confirm details of the story when he talked about the response from the community.
Oh yeah, it makes me feel like there are good people in the world. Even though bad people did that to my car, it makes me feel good that there are still good people out there.
I have a question for everyone. Why the fuck is this idiot wearing plastic wrap around his neck? Like, isn't that the kind of wrap that you put around food? Why the fuck is it around his neck?
Well, the DA says there is video evidence that led to the arrest, but he would not elaborate on it.
His fucking neighbor recorded him. This guy's fucking neighbor is just like, what the fuck is he doing? He's out there smashing the fucking windshield, spray painting a fucking swastika on his car. His neighbor's like there with a phone, like, what the fuck is this guy doing? And he just sends it to the police. The BPD officer is just like, hello, did you see any hate crimes? Yeah, I saw my neighbor doing all this shit to his own vehicle. Oh, crack that fucking case, man. Just crack the code. Buffalo PD cracking the fucking code, baby. It's like some fucking Born Identity shit, like all the typing in the room. We gotta find him. We gotta enhance the image. Cracking the cases. I got a lead, chief. Oh, man, I gotta follow up on that. The neighbor literally gives me video of this fucking guy doing the fucking crime himself. I knock on the neighbor's door, and they're like, yeah, here you go. Here's the fucking video of the person doing it himself. I mean, was it even at night? Was this guy doing this in broad fucking daylight? Smashing his windows and windshield out in broad fucking daylight, and the neighbors just watching him? Like, this is the thing about, like, being a Buffalo. None of these houses are spaced out. They're all just piled on top of each other. So if you're going to commit a crime, chances are someone's going to fucking see you. But, you're this guy, this galaxy brain didn't do. Clifton Utsi. You're out there spray painting your own vehicle all over the place. Just spray painting the shit out of your vehicle, pouring sugar in the gas tank, smashing your windows. And your neighbor is standing there the whole time filming you. Jesus Christ. This guy's facing 15 fucking years, at least. It's gotta be more than 15 years, unless the fucking district attorney gives him a sweetheart deal. This guy with a single-digit fucking IQ. Unbelievable. It's so stupid. But I just love that if you look, you can't find any of the original stories. Like, I've already looked, and I couldn't find any of the original segments. You just find all the updates. That's all you find is all the updates. You don't see anything from October. You don't see anything. Like, it took me a while to actually find something. And there were no shortage of the original stories. I remember this being on TV in October, and it was several days. It was several days of them playing this story. I saw it. So, to me, it's very convenient that the minute you try to find the original story, to see all the shit that was said originally about hate and fucking all white people and all this, or at least the implication. I don't even know if local news will go whole hog in the way that, leftoid media online would. But I can't imagine that they would hold back. Because even in the follow-ups, they're still slanting it. They're still pushing the idea of, racial hate crimes in Buffalo. When it's like the one conviction they're going to get isn't these two white boomers saying whatever during, the riots in the summer. No, it's this guy. This is the guy that's actually going to catch a conviction. It really is amazing to me that even when they catch this guy cold, that in the follow-up segments on the news, where they have to eat crow, in that they did originally play this out like, oh my God, this very serious hate crime that's happened in the city, that you still have to slant it. You still have to say like, serious racial hate crime, when the guy has already been arrested twice since you originally played the story, okay? You did the original segment a month ago. Here you are eating crow for falsely reporting what happened and just going with this guy's narrative. Even when in the original segments, he's like, yeah, by the way, wouldn't it be crazy if I did this? You'd be crazy to do this to your own vehicle. He's just telling you, like, outright, like, wouldn't it be crazy if I did this? And you're just playing it uncritically. But a month later, or less than, you're coming back and you're like, by the way, he did it himself. He's been arrested twice. Once for fraud. He's now facing 4 charges on that, including 1 felony. But he's also been arrested again and released again based on having illegal weapons and driving without a license. I mean, no one even thought to ask, like the first time, you got this vehicle of yours, do you even have a license? And no, this guy doesn't. Amazing journalism, ladies and gentlemen. Just the fourth estate. Gotta really take it seriously. Gotta watch it uncritically. The boomers, man. Just, how in the world do you have any confidence in this at all? Whether it's local news or just standard broadcast news, how do you listen to this shit? You see this shit and just not understand remotely of what is being presented to you. How? When even in the follow-up story, where they're supposed to eat crow for fucking up this badly and making such a big deal about this for days, breathlessly reporting this garbage, when the guy himself, this single IQ fucking guy, is telling you in a segment like, wouldn't it be crazy if I did this shit? Breathlessly reporting that, and then in the follow-up, you are still so fucking biased that you present it from the same angle as you would in the first segment. As if, it's a serious hate crime. He did it himself! It's not bad enough that the guy did it himself. It's the fact that he's making every Trump supporter look like a fucking white supremacist. You can't even bother to bring that up. You can't even bother to say that this makes white people look terrible, that action itself is racist because he's smearing white people and blaming white people for something he himself did. But no, the news media has to find some kind of answer. They have the demand of white supremacy, so they have to find it somewhere. And when they have a false positive, they just continue with the fucking narrative as if it's entirely true, when this example disproves the entire narrative to begin with. This was the one thing that had a charge, and it's a fake fucking crime. It's a hoax. It's an immoral thing to do, and yet they do it with no impetus whatsoever to apologize for doing this. It's one of the things that I really can't stand about the media. It's not just a feigned neutrality that I see a lot of people, take issue with. They're willing to smear and defame and just do whatever the fuck they want, say whatever the fuck they want with no consequences whatsoever, and zero accountability in terms of what they report. Zero accountability. You cook up and play and roll with these obviously fucking bullshit stories. You're so desperate to have this narrative, to find some means to perpetuate this narrative, that you roll with these kind of bullshit segments where the guy that committed the hoax is now facing like half a lifetime in fucking prison. This is the conviction you got, is the guy that's now facing half a lifetime in prison because he was himself responsible for the crime. And you just uncritically just roll with that, admit, oh, this guy himself did it, isn't that curious? Oh, crazy that. Meanwhile, the first segments you roll out are just like, hate crimes in Western New York. We got to go to the district attorney. I don't know if this is counts enough as a is there a problem? I'm not sure. For in 2 years, I'm not too sure. Like, he himself is flailing because he realizes that he doesn't want to say that there isn't a problem, but at the same time, he's got the news media in his face, sticking a microphone in his face. White supremacy in Western New York. Mr. District Attorney, what are you doing? They have all these claims of racial strife, of race hate crimes, but they never follow through with actually reporting any of the truth. It's like the anti-Jewish hate crimes in New York City, black people. The anti-Asian out west in New York City, blacks. This instance, blacks. The anti-Semitism at UB. Oh, is it the random suburban upper middle class white students? I don't fucking think so. But are they ever going to deal with those particular issues? Are they ever going to take the bold and brave stance of reporting how much hatred is coming out of the black community, quote unquote, whether it's Jews, gays, Asians, anybody, Latinos, anybody? Let's go talk to some Latinos in Buffalo and hear some of their opinions on blacks. Hoo boy. It's going to be like being at a Klan meeting when you're talking to them. And I know firsthand from talking to some of these people in Buffalo who are Hispanic. They don't fucking pull any punches. Go report on that racial strife. But no, it's like, let's import half the fucking world to our country. We're so diverse, we're disintegrating. Meanwhile, we're going to do news segments demonizing whites through implication. And whether they did it overtly in the original segments, I don't know, because they're not anywhere to be found. But in the follow-ups, we're still going to take that fucking stance, where it's an implication of it being a real hate crime, when the guy is facing half a lifetime in prison for all the crimes that he's committed, just based around that one fucking case. That he was already on the radar of police because of this fucking case. He gets picked up a second time, and now he's facing even more serious charges of weapons charges. And those come with some heavy sentences in New York, if I'm not mistaken. I've admitted in the past that I don't have a perfect solution to this, but I'm so sick and tired of it. I am so sick and tired of the news media. And the people on our side that are like, oh, we got to be principled on, oh, the First Amendment, freedom of the press. That means that the press can be out there inciting violence, promoting defamation, engaging in insane ideological bias that's destroying the fucking country. As far as I'm concerned, freedom of the press is freedom of the distribution of information. It's no fucking special cutout for the cock-sucking media. Distribution of information, which is my right to be able to say what I want. It's not the exclusive right of a corporation to profit off of the disintegration of our nation. That's not the way that I view it. That's not a right that I can see. That a legal fiction has the right to incite violence and promote enough defamation that it leads to violence or it leads to more social strife, which is what's going on with this kind of shit. Our rights are based on the individual, not special cutouts for groups like the media, journos. We don't have group rights here. So that interpretation of the First Amendment, in my view, makes no fucking sense. It should be the right of the individual to distribute information, meaning Twitter doesn't have a right to ban me, YouTube doesn't have a right to take down my shit, and the rest of it. Not journos have the absolute right to promote all the incendiary garbage that they can get away with no accountability. We have federal bureaucracies that are supposed to oversee this shit, specifically for broadcasting, and they just sit there and do fucking nothing. While you have breathless coverage of racial hate crimes, but no accountability for who's actually responsible. Just promotion of fiction around white supremacy in America, these phantoms, when the reality is staring you in the fucking face. Anyways, I think this video is long enough, and I will leave it there. Thanks for listening.